Hi, I'm Andy To, Research Director for Business Insurance. Thank you for joining us. It is my pleasure to bring you the highlights from our 6th Annual Diversity Survey of Insurance Professionals. You can find the full report in the October issue of Business Insurance, which you can also download from our website at businessinsurance.com. Firstly, a quick thank you to all our Platinum and Gold members and sponsors of the Business Insurance Diversity and Inclusion Institute. Your support not only helps us to continue the work of promoting and advancing a more diverse and inclusive workforce, but it also allows us to brainstorm and develop ideas and solutions to recognize the importance of having people from different backgrounds and varied experiences to be successful in today's business environment. So thank you, and thank you. This year, we conducted our online survey between July 6 to August 15, and we did things a little differently. In addition to emails, we also sent calls for participation via our social media channels like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We were actually able to significantly increase the number of respondents from 765 in 2021 to 1,130 this year. We also received more responses from the younger age group than any time in the years that we have been doing this survey. So for 2022, we have a younger profile of insurance professionals. More than half, 52% of this year's respondents are millennials, double the 23.9% last year and making them the largest group of respondents by age group. About a quarter of the respondents are Gen Xers and 20% are baby boomers. Baby boomers made up the largest cohort last year with 43%. Here are the other breakdowns of this year's survey respondents. We have 56.6% male, 40.1% female, and a handful of respondents who prefer not to answer or are transgender. Over 70% are white, same as last year, and almost 90% are straight. Now, let's dive into the actual report. One of the biggest takeaways from this year's survey is that over 60% of our US-based insurance professionals said that their companies have made changes to improve their diversity and inclusion practices in the past year. And about a quarter of all respondents this year said that they have already seen changes in their company's diversity and inclusion efforts. The percentage of respondents that said no changes were made at their company actually dropped from about 31% to 20%. So it does look like we are seeing progress. In fact, 64.3% of respondents this year were also more likely to say that their organizations recognize diversity and inclusion as a business priority. Not surprisingly, those working at larger companies are more likely to say this than those working in smaller companies. I think that's because the larger companies have more resources to build a better program. 77.2% of our professionals from companies with 10,000 or more employees compared with 33.9% from companies with fewer than 100 employees said that their organizations have made effort to improve its diversity and inclusion practices in the past year. Likewise, 3/4 of those working in the largest companies compared with only half of those in the smallest companies said that their organizations recognize diversity and inclusion as a priority. Much work still needs to be done as there is still a divide between male and female, white and non-white respondents when it comes to how they feel about diversity and inclusion at the workplace. Male and white respondents are more likely to feel that there is both diversity and inclusion at their workplace than female and non-white respondents. Younger workers are more likely to feel there is diversity but no inclusion compared with their older Gen Xers and baby boomer colleagues. Changing attitudes take time, and our insurance professionals know and are realistic about this. About half of our respondents said that it will take at least a year to see any changes. A fifth, that's 20%, thinks that it will take at least 2 to 3 years. However, our insurance professionals are not sitting idly by. Almost 60% of all respondents said that they have taken a role in their company's diversity and inclusion initiatives. Millennials especially are participating at a higher rate than their older counterparts. 68.3% millennials compared with 55.2% Gen Xers and 42.3% of baby boomers said that they have taken a role or play a part in their company's diversity and inclusion initiatives. Millennials are also much more likely to be optimistic about real diversity-related changes coming to the industry than the older generation. 61% millennials compared with 49.8% Gen Xers and 43% baby boomers said that they are optimistic that real change will come. The good news is that 70% of total respondents this year also rated their company's diversity and inclusion program as somewhat or very effective. There is almost no difference percentage-wise between white respondents and non-white respondents that rated their company's diversity program as very effective. 24.7% versus 22.5% of white versus non-white, compared with 27.6% and 14.8% in 2021, which is kind of interesting. The CEO is still the main person who sets the tone for a company's diversity and inclusion efforts. However, that view has dropped from 56.2% of total respondents last year to 38.6% in 2022. And 10.7% compared with 6.1% of respondents last year said that the Chief Diversity Officer should be accountable for a company's diversity. Could this be an indication that diversity and inclusion has taken on a greater profile in the past year? And could it be that the role of the Chief Diversity Officer has become more visible in leadership? I think this explains the shift in the drop of the CEO as the main person accountable and a corresponding, even though a smaller, increase of the Chief Diversity Officer as the main person accountable for the company's diversity. As in the past, majority of respondents feel that having a woman or a minority in leadership positions can help with a company's diversity and inclusion practices. 49% of all respondents said that having a woman in leadership position helps with the company's diversity and inclusion efforts, while over half said that having a minority in leadership position will help. However, only 9.9% of the respondents said that they have a woman as their CEO, and just 8.1% said they have a minority person as CEO. In the survey, we listed what we thought should be the top priorities or ways that companies can help their employees to improve their own individual diversity and inclusion journey. Our respondents picked their top 3 priorities, and at number 1, 40.4% of our respondents picked retention and development of diverse talents as their top priority, while 34.2% thinks that developing a robust pipeline of high-potential diverse talents should be a top priority, and 28.5% chose company has to demonstrate fairness in their performance and compensation decisions. In terms of what are the ways companies can help them improve in their own individual diversity and inclusion journey, more than half, 53.1%, said that it would help for their companies to provide them with networking opportunities. Finally, after what we have experienced in the past 2 years with COVID and with all the protests across the country, the result of our survey this year shows that we have made progress. Our insurance professionals know that it will take some time, but they are optimistic that real change will come. So, with that, I want to conclude and thank all our respondents for participating in the survey. We want to continue to hear from you. Give us your feedback, share your ideas, tell us how you are feeling about the industry. We hope you will find the conference helpful, and we hope to see you again next year. Thank you.